Sometimes we push all the chairs to the side so that we have room to put other chairs and other things in the middle.
So, did this used to open and they?
No, the books,
I used to go,
oh,
it opens out.
It doesn't close, it just put the, at one point, there was a set of chairs similar to this that were lifted up.
because I went to a school where we had this kind of desk, and I remember having my books in there, but you're right, you just shove them in.
And then after they went to that, there was places, chairs like this, and you stuck your books underneath it.
Yeah.
So as things progressed, the
Now we have
chairs,
nice plastic molded,
right, and
they lack charm.
so, but I grew up in Florida and I used these kind of desks probably up through junior high.
Yeah, I'm trying to think where I was when I was using
Подогреватель.
these desks.
Almost anywhere in the United States. I don't know about other countries, but
Your pencils would go.
pencils go
С
there.
чего ты взяла, что это
Go
современный?
here. Yeah, you use спичка.
Yeah, no, we didn't have.
Нет
to
такой
do
ручки.
that.
Okay.
I mean,
Это не современно.
Okay, well, at about 1950, the first through the fifth grade or first through the fourth grade used pencils.
Uh-huh.
Yes, so this
Cute.
this is from the 1890s.
Are you allowed to go inside?
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you.
Какой шикарный камин. Чердаку, сундуку.
Can I a little bit clean?
Just go up there and look.
I'm not going. I'm just gonna pull my head up.
Наташа, смотри, прялка.
Oh, I don't see anything. It's so awesome here, but my phone don't see anything.
Yeah, it is pretty dark up
It's
there.
pretty dark.
Метелка для ведьмы вон стоит.
It's so awesome.
But one of the advancements
Huh?
that they did here is brick and mortar.
What is it? Oh, bricks.
This man next door, it was wood.
Yeah, I pull my phone like that to see what is it up there.
And if that caught fire, what they would do is pull it away from the house.
Because I was surprised, like how do they have a fire pit and inside the wood pit?
Yeah.
It was just,
Yeah.
it's very strange.
Absolutely.
This is 1860s.
Looks like. Is this how it's made? It's what is it? Is it clay?
Yes, ma'am. This is from Georgia, the next state above us.
Uh-huh.
They have red clay up there, and it's a lot stronger.
So they, oh, I see windows. It's right there.
Red clay dirt.
Yeah. Классные такие.
Да у меня хуже в Химике домик, у меня камина нет.
It's a school bell. School. It was a school. Pooping place.
Other than the schoolhouse.
Looks like a
Oh, I
school.
saw it, yeah.
It was, and that is a woman in there who does a lot of stuff. This is the bed filled with Spanish moss. So you know the sun, the chairs, stay, sit tight, don't let the bed legs rise. You can clear me and leave me. Nose spray, mosquitoes, I don't know where you guys are from, Louisiana.
Live on the porch like the dogs do.
Yeah. Yes, very.
No window. How about
hard
mosquitoes?
rock. Yeah, glass was expensive. That's one garden, there's another garden over there.
They had a garden right here.
That's the herbs
Oh.
for seasonings.
It's nice. That box, it's a washing machine? Oh, it's
And they
interesting.
would agitate things.
Where did they get water from? Where does water come from?
They had wells and pumps.
Oh, well,
By
so
the
now,
end, yeah.
can I look inside the washing machine?
Sure. You can look at whichever.
Oh, I'm curious what it's inside.
It's easy to have. And another thing is, anything that you start putting in that beeswax may not be
Washing machine.
100% food safe. I know that beeswax is
Oh.
100% food safe because in history there is nobody that's ever been allergic to honey or beeswax. Nobody. Nobody. In fact, when you take honey and you put it on wounds, or your wounds guy came in to the nurse, pulled out the bandage, and she said, "What is that?" And he said, "Well." He said, "What?" He said, "Spider's web." That's what we do, because we didn't have Band-Aids. So we'd take a bunch of spider web and put it down there, and that was the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
She says, "I don't think that's, sanitary here. Let me rewrap that for you." Yeah, spider's web.
Well, that's like it, the kale and clay. Kale and clay that I use in pottery stuff. Granny, you cut yourself. Granny would say, go out and dig up some clay. You bring in that white clay, and they put it on there, and it drew out all the impurities and everything. It helped it heal. And
It's like a drawing.
yeah,
agent.
yeah,
Wow.
definitely.
What was this thing here? Was this like a grinding thing or?
That is a grinder for sugarcane.
Oh, so then they put like a horse on it? or-
Yes, a mule, and here when they do it, they might run a few kids around on it. But yeah, you stick it in the side, and the cane, that's pieces of old cane there. We have that during the pioneer days here through the year. When they take that, they'll do it over to the kiln, but
We got a group here,
they put one underneath it, and we boil it down like maple syrup. 1 gallon.
and I've been a full-time blacksmith for well over 30 years, so this is my real job.
This was exactly
I'm out of Ohio. My name's Hank Steinmetz, and I'm a utilitarian blacksmith. I make utility items. I don't make hinges and latches and
Yeah, well, that way,
knives
too,
or
if
anything
you get
like
lost, you
that,
can
but
catch
I
fish
make
with that,
hooks,
too, 'cause
hangers,
those fish
cooking
hooks.
utensils,
Yeah.
fireplace
I had
things,
a bottle
everything
of
like
Newport
that,
similar to
utilitarian stuff.
That's a Mariah.
And this forge and everything is pretty much representative of a mid-18th century blacksmith shop, or 19th century, 19th century. I'm dressed like a blacksmith would be in the 18th century, in the 1700s. I portray a blacksmith in about 1750 to 1770, the French and Indian War period through the Revolutionary War period. And I demonstrate at different places, but I'm here. This is Deb Sands. She's the kiln queen over there. She'll be firing the kiln on Sunday. Nap-in is this weekend, this coming weekend. So she'll be firing about 100 plus pieces in the kiln over there. But anyway, this is a blacksmith shop. This is called a forge, and there's coal in there, and that's burning right now. It's sitting there at about 1400 degrees, just idling right now. And we bring air into the fire to make the fire hotter, because our iron, we like to work our iron at somewhere between 1200 and about 2250 to 2300 degrees. And we have to warm it up, make it soft, and when we warm it up, it will change colors. So believe it or not, it is still in a black stage to up until about 1200 degrees. And once it gets up to about 1200 degrees, it'll start taking on a color. And we watch the colors, and that way we know how hot it is. When it gets up to about 2350, this particular iron, when it gets to about 2350 degrees, it'll actually start sparkling like a 4th of July sparkler. So at that point in time, the metal is actually vaporizing, and if you'd had something on the end of that where it's vaporizing, it'd melt off, and then you'd have to cut the end off, and then you'd have to start over whatever you've done. So you've got to watch that you don't have too many irons in the fire. Okay, now we've gotten that one out of the way. Now there's another one. When we bring the iron out, well, you'll see me working pretty quick, so you have to strike while the iron is hot. So anyway, this blower brings in air, making the fire hotter, adding oxygen to the fire. And like I say, this is coal that we're burning. We have to actually burn the coal one time prior to the way it comes out of the ground. We have to actually turn it into a product called coke. And the flames that you'll see that's burning here and the smoke that you'll see back here is actually the petroleum that is in the coal that is burning out. Just coal by itself that hasn't been turned into coke, like would be in a coal burning stove, only burns about 800-900 degrees. And again, like I told you, we need it from about 1200 to about 2300. So we need to process that coal and get it into the stage of coke. And so once that's done, we do that right here, and it's continually, this coal is continually turning into coke as I'm burning it. But right down there in the center of the fire, that's the coke. That's the stuff that gets real hot. Now we could use charcoal, we could use cut down trees and bring them in and burn, and that'll still become the same temperature. Okay, now we're going to get back to colors, and you watch the color of this when I come out of the fire. Okay, that's about 2200 right there on the end. And I'm hammering on that, and I started hammering on that out on the horn. That helps me draw it out a little quicker. And then I went back to the face of the anvil, and I'll finish this out. And I'll tell you a little bit about what I'm doing. I'm kind of making it look like a screwdriver. Okay, so if we look at this, it's a little bit wider at the top than it is at the bottom. That's our original size. Okay. Okay, everybody see that? But if I turn it 90 degrees, see it's real thin at the top, looks like a screwdriver. Okay, I'm going to put this back in the fire and let it sit there for a minute, and I'm going to tell you why I'm doing this. In front of you, you're going to see some hooks laying around there. There's the process that I'm doing right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to make one of these little Tommy. This is called a stick-in Tommy, or a drive-in hook or mantle hook. Stick in the wood. That looks like a nail. Little twist in the middle. There's a J on the end, and then there's a little I on the end. You've got this driven in next to your bed or somewhere, and you hang an article of clothing on it, and you get in a big hurry, possibility that piece of clothing is going to come right over that smooth area and come right off. If it was just a straight point like this, what do you think would happen? Probably rip it, right? Probably rip it. Now, there's a possibility that you could have a spoon or spatula or something like that hanging on it, and it wouldn't make any difference. But that is so that it can be used for a clothing article or something, and it also makes it look nice. We try to make our items look as nice as we can and do it in as quick a time as we can. The same thing with the twist. I'll tell you about the twist in a little bit. Okay, so we've got that hammered down, and it's drawn down thin on the end, and that will allow me to roll that eye over. And if I've got this hot enough, all the way up part of the shaft, I'll be able to do two things in one heat, which it looks like we're going to be able to do. I'll roll that eye, I'm going to bring it over to the quench bucket, and I'm going to cool just that little eye, and then I'm going to go around that tool right here and bend and make the J. So here we go. I strictly do the eye just with the hammer. I'm just tapping it around, I pull it back, and I've got the eye made the way I want it. I'm going to cool that because I'm going to actually tap on that eye, and if I wouldn't cool that, it would smash that eye closed, and then I'd have to start all over again. So with that heat there, we got two things done. Okay, we got the J made, and we got the eye on. Okay, these pliers that I'm working with are called tongs, and of course you've had this in the fire, so this is getting warm from the heat from the fire and the iron against this iron, and it's heating up, but it's still pretty cold down here. But anyway, I'm switching tongs to get another pair of tongs that fit the bottom better. I will cool these down so they're cold. The next time I touch them, they're cold. You see our tongs sitting here. I don't have to worry about burning myself. So we're going to put this back in the fire, and we're going to make that point on the other end this time. Now, you can say, okay, we can make this hook and not put that point on it and put a hole in it, and we'll get a screw. Well, that's great. A screw would probably cost you 10 times what that hook cost you. And then, how do you put a screw in or take a screw out? You need a screwdriver, and right underneath your water bottle is a screwdriver. And so that screwdriver is probably going to cost you the same as the screw. So now you have spent the amount of 20 drive-in hooks to have one hook, one screw, and one screwdriver. And another thing is, iron was a very sought after item. The rough iron, the raw material was very prized, so you tried to use as little as you could and make it as utility as you could. So why not just attach the apparatus that holds it to the wall on the end of the hook?
So what year, I mean, I'm assuming these, the iron.
Go ahead.
Here, that came out of some big manufacturing plant. What year would this been available to Frontier Blacksmiths?
What year would this?
This kind of stuff be available to Frontier Blacksmiths?
This iron in these forms would be probably available in the mid 1800s and later. Prior to that, we were only able to get just certain sizes of bar stock, and then we would actually have to heat it, and we'd have to hammer it down into the smaller shapes. Earlier than that, when you get into the mid to early 1700s, we got in iron that was just big chunks like that beeswax chunk is, and it was called bloom iron, and that's the way it was made, and then it was shipped over in the bottom of ships. So then we had to basically refine it in the forge here. So as time went on, there was more shapes and sizes, pre-made sizes available to us. So, okay, we've got that nail point done on the end of that. I'm going to lock it into this vise. Hammer that over. Okay, so we've got that part of it done. That's the nail part, and of course you hammer on it back here. And then we'll heat it back up and put the twist in it. And a twist is just nothing more than my style. Makes it look a little fancy. It doesn't make it weaker or stronger. It actually doesn't make it any shorter by twisting it, or no more than we twist it. Now, I'm only going to twist it one revolution, and that's all I need to do, and that will be, you'll be able to see that. It's very visual, very apparent that one twist in there gives you a nice appearance. And but if you would probably twist that maybe 10 complete revolutions, it might shorten it up maybe 1/8 of an inch or 3/16 of an inch, maybe the thickness of the material, but it's not going to make much difference. When we're hammering that iron, and I drew that point out, I actually made that piece longer than what it started out. The rolled end the same way. So if you would straighten that piece out, that piece is probably at least 1 inch longer than what it actually started out being. So, and it doesn't need to be that thick in those areas, so you can draw it out, save material. If something would break, and iron is very easily repairable, if something would break, you'd take it back to the blacksmith shop and they would repair it. Now, if you didn't need that particular item anymore, you could take and make it into something else, cut it down, make 2 or 3 different items maybe out of that piece. So we were the early recyclers. And okay, so there's a nice color in there, and when it's like that, it's very soft. And I'll just grab it with the tongs like this, and we'll make 1 complete revolution. I went a little bit beyond 360 degrees because the iron has a little bit of a memory. And so by going a little bit beyond and then backing it off, it will lock into that position and stay there. Of course, when you cool it down, then it will be completely locked. So, if you remember what we started out with, I think we started out with this piece here, and we ended up with that piece there. It's wet, but it's cold. You guys can touch this.
Oh, it's cold already. So awesome.
And that's what we did.
That's what it is now. And you just start with a piece like this?
Now, did the South make its own steel, or did you have to import it?
Thank
like
you.
Iron, did you have to
It
get
was
In the
this?
1800s,
very
people
interesting
produced steel.
show.
You're up around the Great Lakes and different things where they were mining. When we started learning when we started getting to the technology of how they made the steel in the other countries, then we found where iron ore was here in America, and then we started mining it, and then we started putting in big furnaces, and then we started making our own iron here. But yeah, it was.
Because I know when you talked about coke, my dad was in the steel mill. and
Sure.
They used the coke for the open heart.
Oh,
But
yeah.
so then when you had the Civil War,
Yeah,
you didn't produce your own steel.
that's right. That's right.
So that was
Yeah.
a problem,
Right,
probably.
right, yeah, yeah. Well, we just weren't up on the biggest problem that we have is transportation. You know, until you had the railroads
Yeah.
in here, it had to go in a Conestoga wagon, or if you was in an area where there was water, you transported it in boats. That's why a lot of copper and a lot of iron was used on the Great Lakes. I can definitely see that.
That's the thing to know. Although I will say this, that many of the clubs is a potluck. And they have wine and food. Always. It's not required. Mine doesn't. I know, there's no one really, but that was my first book that I read. It was so much fun. And it is rather in its own way. But the other thing that happened Yeah, I have to go to Friends of Pleasant Prairie. Because they run the That was at Pearls, right? Well, Pearls, it doesn't have anything. I was also at Prairie, and I looked at the book there. Remember that book I gave you about that? About it's a new edition of it. No, it's still a magazine. Yes, and they made it. I don't know how much different I don't care what they. Yeah. My house was raised out there. My neighbor's chickens were free range and they laid all their eggs under my house. And my dogs loved the eggs. My dogs won't eat the eggs if you can keep chickens on that side, but I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know what? Are you beginning to get them? Oh, yeah.